Dear students, today's topic is reflex action. Reflex action is a sudden and involuntary response to stimuli. That is, any response that occurs automatically without our knowledge of brain is called as reflex action. So the reflex action are of two types. What are the two types? One is simple or basic reflexes, another one acquired or conditioned reflexes. So simple reflexes means these type of reflexes are inbuilt or unlearned responses. That is, pulling our hand away immediately after touching any hot pan or cold object is a simple reflexes. Simple reflexes means that is a unlearned response. Okay, that is some of the examples of simple reflexes are contraction of muscles in response to stretching and blinking of eyes when a cornea is touched, and then salivation at the sight of food. Okay, these are all some of the examples. Then winking of eyes with any other dust particles enter into the eye, that is automatically our eyes are winking. And then sneezing, coughing, yawning, these are all some of the examples of simple reflexes. Next one is acquired or conditioned reflexes. Conditioned reflexes are also called as acquired reflex. It is an automatic response to a stimulus that different from that initially causing the response. That is, this type of reflexes are result of practice and learning. Okay. Learned reflexes develop through conscious or unconscious repetition. For example, learning to ride a bicycle, play a musical instrument, or efficiently execute a sports move, okay, are all examples of consciously training learned reflexes. Most of the reflex actions are monitored and controlled by spinal cord, hence are also known as spinal reflexes. Okay, the reflex action is called as spinal reflexes. The pathway taken by nerve impulse to accomplish reflex action is called as reflex arc. Okay, so this is the pathway of nerve impulse to accomplish reflex action. The action is taken from sensory neuron to a spinal cord. So the pathway of reflex action is called as reflex arc. Reflex action and its pathway. When we touch a very hot pan, the stimulus is the heat. Okay, so the heat is received by the sense organ and then give it to the spinal cord. So the receptor is called as heat receptor or thermoreceptor. Okay, thermoreceptor in our hand. So this stimulus in turn triggers a impulse to the sensory neuron. The sensory neuron transmit to convey the message to the spinal cord. The spinal cord interrupts stimulus and the impulse is passed on to the relay neuron, which in turn transmits to a motor neuron. Motor neuron carry command from spinal cord to our arm. The muscle in our arm contract and we withdraw our hand immediately from the pan. Okay, so see this picture. When we touch a hot pan, the sensory organ in our hand, there is a thermoreceptor to receive the impulse to the sense organ and it's giving to the spinal cord. Okay, so this is the afferent root. Through afferent root, the message sent it to the spinal cord. So this is the center of the spinal cord. There is a relay neuron. The relay neuron convey the message to the afferent root to efferent root. The relay neuron transmit the message to the motor neuron. The motor neuron carry the command from the spinal cord to the arms. The muscles in our arm, they contract and we withdraw our hand immediately from the pan. Okay, so this is the pathway of reflex action. Next one is peripheral nervous system. So peripheral nervous system, the nerves arising from the brain and spinal cord and it's sent to different parts of the body. So the nerves arising from the brain are called as cranial nerves. nerves arising from brain are called as cranial nerves. The brain arising from a spinal cord are called as spinal nerves. So cranial nerves in human beings, there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Okay, from the brain arising 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Some of the nerves are sensory in function and some of the cranial nerves are motor in function. So sensory neuron example, that is optic nerve, okay, which innervate the eyes. Okay, that is to receive the sense through eyes, that is a sensory neuron. Some of them are motor in function, so that is rotation of eyeballs. There is the action, okay, that is the action neuron, rotation of eyeball. This is a motor neuron. Okay, then spinal nerves, there are presence of 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Each spinal nerve has a dorsal sensory root and then ventral motor root. Okay, dorsal sensory root and then ventral motor root. The direction of impulse in dorsal spinal root, okay, that is the sensory neuron receive the message and then convey to the dorsal spinal root is towards the spinal cord. Okay, that is sensory organ to spinal cord, and ventral spinal root, that is the message away from the spinal cord. Okay, spinal cord to effect. Next one, autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is also called as visceral nervous system. So visceral nervous system, it regulates the function and also internal visceral organs, internal important organs like heart, lungs, and then internal organs of respiration, digestion, excretion. Okay, these are all the organs are internal visceral organs. So the internal visceral organs, so the autonomic nervous system, it consists of two components, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic and parasympathetic, both of them are antagonistic in function. Thank you, students.